Hello Australia, welcome to another Big Couch, episode 731. We've got young Elvis coming in to perform for us today. Also, we've got Dr. Paula Smith. She's coming in to talk about the weird and wonderful perks that organisations are offering to attract and retain staff. Stay tuned for that, we might learn something. The Masquerade Ball is coming up for charity and the Cancer Council representative is here today, Michelle Wright. We'll talk to her very, very soon. Also, Top 5 Streaming with Paul Elvin. And also later on, we talked to an employment lawyer about working from home and other rules that have come in now. We're talking to her, Jo will be in. Talking health with Dr. Jenny. She's talking about how we de-stress. And later on, we talk entertainment with Alexander Sacosta. Hope you can stick around. Episode 731 starts now.
It's showtime on the couch. It's showtime on the couch. You can see it from your house. You can see it from your house. It's showtime on the couch with Fred and the best in town. You can see it from your house. Yeah, it's showtime on the couch. Oh, oh, oh.
Hello Australia, hope you had a great week wherever you might be living, and thank you for joining us on Foxtel for another episode of The Couch. First up today, we've got Dr. Paula Smith, and she's been away but she's back today. Thank you for coming back to us, Paula.
Thanks, great to be here, and yes, I'm back.
It's nice to have you back. Now, we're talking about weird and wonderful perks and little perks and what are we calling them? Advantages, or should we say incentives?
Incentives, benefits, perks.
Now, why do we offer perks and incentives to employers?
Well, a couple of months ago, I talked to viewers about the Great Resignation. And in Australia, it's not as bad as the hype is making out. But what is real is the staff shortages. Now, I've just come back from a few weeks around Europe, and it's exactly the same all over the world. So what I did want to talk to you about today is those weird and wonderful perks that all the organisations are offering now to both attract and retain staff.
Why do they need to? I mean, for those people at home saying, well, why would we not just pay them a salary?
Yeah.
Is that not enough?
Well, it's basically an employee's world at the moment. And when staff shortages are around, and employees get a little bit choosier. So organisations are pulling out all the stops, and they're getting rather creative as well to try to attract.
Right.
It's a big talent
Well,
war.
tell us some of the weird stuff that's been happening.
I'm going to leave the weird stuff to last.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's going to take time to process what I've just said about the weird ones, okay?
Well, tell us how it's working. How are they doing it?
Yeah, so let's talk about the traditional ones. The traditional ones are things like, the mobile phones, the flexible hours, perhaps a car, and of course, recently, the opportunity to work from home. So, and some of the bigger companies are offering things like swimming pools, gyms, wellness days. And
that's a perk.
I know. And if you're a bit of fun, if you work for Peter Alexandra, you wear your pyjamas to work. So.
How good is that? Look, I think the working from home saga, I think it started off as being an incentive, a very popular one for a lot of organisations. Now that COVID has sort of slipped away into the background, people are still working from home and enjoying it. So I guess the companies and organisations want to keep those employees because there's a high demand on certain industries, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, it's become almost an expectation now. So rather than a perk, it's like, well, we expect the opportunity to work from home.
Is it easy to bargain your way to getting good perks and incentives and salaries?
Well, it's all about the negotiation at the moment.
How would you recommend we do it?
Well, what I found, because I'm lucky enough to work in a lot of organisations, so I've been asking both staff and leadership teams, but also doing a bit of my own research. In fact, I found this one company called Perkbox, and they offer over 4,000 different perks. So an organisation works in partnership with this company to package up all these perks so they can personalise it to each employee, or just to put up packages for their entire organisation. But over 4,000 perks.
That's a lot of perks.
Yeah, from like discount offers, movie tickets, travel, massages, all those type of things. But some of the wonderful ones that I found 11 different companies, and there's probably more, 11 different companies that offered unlimited paid time off.
That's not a bad one, especially these days. People need more time off because they're at home relaxing and putting their feet up and enjoying it. But it is a good idea. It is a good idea to look after your staff, isn't it? As an organisation, I think that is a good system to have. But do you think it's going to end up costing companies a hell of a lot more money?
Well, some of these companies put it in place 2 and 3 years ago.
Yep.
And out of those 11 companies, I think there was 8 who still have that option for staff and said that it will never go back. And their thinking is around, well, it's 12 months worth of work. If you did it in 6 months and you can take 6 months off on holidays, then you go for it. You manage your time. And where the other companies have gone back and they said it just didn't work. But not for the reasons that we'd think.
Yep.
Staff weren't taking more holidays. They were actually taking less holidays. They didn't really understand those boundaries, so they were starting to feel guilty about, am I taking too much time off, etc. So they went back to the traditional ways of 4 or 6 weeks holidays.
Do you think with lockdowns Australia-wide, you had in Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane, a lot more lockdowns than we had here in WA, do you think people were just holidayed out, as in, normally when you take a holiday, it's usually to get away from work. Either you stay home, you do the gardening, you renovate, you buy new furniture, and you might travel. I think with so many people being stuck at home, they got sick of it, as in they wanted to get out, and you would think people would want to travel outside of their state, etc. So you wouldn't think you'd need to offer too many incentives. But is it just the big companies that are offering these incentives, or do you have small companies as well? And can the small companies, compete?
Well, it's very difficult to compete. So, and it's both. It's smaller companies and larger companies, and obviously depending on their budgets. So some of the, maybe some of the smaller companies, like one small company offered all of their staff a home cleaner.
Wow.
So that was wonderful. One of the bigger companies, Spanx, for instance, they offered all of their staff a first-class ticket to anywhere in the world and $10,000 spending money.
I'd like
you
that
like
one.
that?
I'd take that one. Hey, we've only got a couple of minutes left. Let's talk about some of the weird stuff.
The weird ones, okay. So 2 of the largest companies, and I won't name them, offered their female employees up to $20,000 to freeze their embryos.
Really?
Now, I thought that was a bit weird.
I thought that's more a personal thing. And,
I know,
and
yeah.
not a tick which one you want sort of thing.
So I thought that was weird. But the weirdest one that I found, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
There's a company in the UK that offered, instead of casual Fridays, they offered naked Fridays.
Well, we could do that here at the studio. I don't know how many people want to see more of me.
So it came about because
Naked Fridays.
I know, a psychologist thought, when a psychologist was working with this company, and they thought that the team needed to get to know each other on a more intimate basis, and it would be good for staff morale. Now, it was optional and not everybody participated, but some did. And although they didn't keep Naked Fridays, it did get the company a massive amount of media exposure. Excuse the pun.
A personal experience here. Have you had any perks or any of these Naked Fridays offered to you through your employer?
No, it would be a bit scary. I don't know with my team. I hope my team aren't watching this, because I know with my team...
They probably love the idea.
Well, they're lucky to get a cuppa and a Tim Tam as a perk, and lots of love. Yeah.
So what would you recommend to people if they're not being offered these perks? Yeah. Do you think they can approach their employer and say, hey, you know what, other companies are offering swimming pools, travel, freezing my embryos, Naked Fridays? What do you reckon? Can you approach your boss and see what's available?
Look, I think we all know the grass is greener on the other side, and I think that when we do pull out, all the stops to attract staff, I think the shine can sometimes wear off. So swimming pools, gym days, Naked Fridays, if you really want.
It's good.
Yeah, but I really think that all staff want to go to work somewhere they belong, somewhere they feel valued, somewhere they're doing purposeful work, somewhere there they can contribute. It's not always about swimming pools.
I think a healthy and happy work environment is probably the basic of what people want. And an income to pay the increased interest rates on your mortgages.
We haven't really talked about money. No. I'm sure money talks as well.
Oh, there'll be another topic. Thank you very much, Paula. Yeah. Paula, what's your website when people want to get in touch with you, because you are an expert communicator? How do we get a hold of you?
So, paulasmith.com.au.
On the screen right now. Paula, thank you very much. Looking forward to your next topic next month.
Yes, we'll have to think up something a little bit funnier than Naked Fridays.
Well, I like the Naked Friday. I don't know how long it would last, but
yeah, I hope we're not going to do a naked show though.
No.
So this is a family show.
imagine trying to focus. Very hard for the camera people. Thank you to Paula Smith, Dr. Paula Smith. We'll talk to you next month. Thank you.
See you soon.
Elvis, young Elvis, the movie came out. It's just as popular having him in the studio. Young Gerard is in, and he's got a beautiful Elvis song. Here's Gerard.
Love me tender, love me sweet, never let me go. You have made my life complete, and I love you so. Love me tender, love me true, all my dreams fulfill. For my darling, I love you, and I always will. Love me tender, love me long, tell me you are mine. I'll be with you till the end, deep within your heart. Well, love me tender, love me true, all my dreams fulfill. For my darling, I love you, and I always will. Love me tender, love me when we are far apart. I'll be with you even then, deep within your heart. Oh, well, love me tender, love me true, all my dreams fulfill. For my darling, I love you, and I always will.
Thank you very much, Jared. We'll see you at the end of the show with another fantastic song. Return to sender. No, I don't want to get too many people excited. No duets. On the couch right now, we're going to cross to Nisha Seth. We're talking about the Masquerade Ball that's coming up very, very soon. And one of the organisers, Michelle Wright, is here to talk to us. Over to you, Nisha.
Thank you so much, Fred. And goodness, you do have a great voice, though. He might need to be careful. Michelle, welcome to the couch.
Thank you so much, Nisha. It's fantastic to be here.
The Masquerade Ball. So you've had this ball in previous years, but
Yes.
this year it's particularly focusing on supporting the Cancer Council here in WA.
Correct, yes. We're raising our funds for Cancer Council WA, and everything that we raise on the night goes fully back to Cancer Council WA. And I mean, as we know, Cancer Council WA is an independent charity. It provides supports to patients, it provides funding to research, and also education programs as well. They rely on all these fundraisers to be able to continue their really good work into the future and help out families that are navigating that very tricky journey of cancer.
And providing that support when families need accommodation as well, which is
Yes.
a huge area, isn't it? Like, you need your family with you, and if you don't live in Perth or a main city, that can be really hard.
They do have 2 accommodations that they fund, and any people from country WA coming to Perth and accessing the treatment here, both the individual and their family can come and live at these accommodation and not have to think about finding that money for hotels, or it just takes that stress.
Covers the basic needs, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. So the purpose of the Masquerade Ball is to raise as much money as we can. We're holding it on the 28th of October at the Duxton. There is an expectation that everyone will frock up. And
we were laughing about this because love dress-up parties and masquerades. We have lots of stories about masquerades, but I'm saying if I go, I won't be the only one who's all dressed up.
Definitely
I know Fred will
not.
dress up.
Definitely not. There'll be so many people, all with masks, sort of like smaller masks or full face masks, and it would just, I mean, probably maybe midnight, so that by the mid of the evening, people might throw them off or something like that. But certainly to start with, and certainly to be actually part of the best dressed, you actually need to wear a mask to the ball.
That's important,
So
isn't it? Yeah.
really, really important. The best dress is a fabulous prize. So we've also got the amazing Ross Warman as our
Yes.
MC for the night, the very
Fantastic.
entertaining Ross Warman. And he just has this ability to take, I mean, cancer is a really big topic, and he's adding his personality and his humour to talk about the gravity and acknowledge the gravity of the disease,
Yes.
as well as keeping it light and fun for everyone that night.
It touches so many of our lives, doesn't it,
Yes.
Cancer? If it's not yourself, it might be a member of the family, might be
Exactly.
a friend. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So in terms of, I guess, your passion, because we know there's a lot of great volunteers in WA, and you're one of them. You're doing this, you know, for a reason, right? Tell us about your journey.
So in March 2020, I was diagnosed with high-grade breast cancer, and I'm in remission now. But I just going through that whole cancer journey. I mean, the talons of cancer are quite far-reaching. It's not just the individual; it's actually also the family that it sort of and the loved ones. And I mean, we were right in the middle of lockdown when. So, one thing that I did find that with support organisations such as Cancer Council WA, they became our village because, like, remember back to 2020 when everyone was quite
very
paranoid
absolutely.
and everything locked down, and then they just maintained connectivity with us and provided that support. So
That's such great feedback for them listening now in too, because I think a lot of organisations had to adapt, and especially in a situation that is so sensitive and challenging already.
Yes, exactly, and they do such a good job keeping everyone connected.
So, Michelle, you really understand the importance and the power of money, not just for sort of general education and awareness, but also for research too. So, tell us about another event that's going on.
That we're participating in. We're going in the Shitbox Rally. It is a car rally to raise money for Cancer Council research, and it's a car rally where we have to buy a car for under $1,500, which
Wow.
so difficult in this day. And we're travelling from Mackay to Darwin through the Savannah Way. So all the back of Borroloola and the back of Arnhem Land and through to Mataranka and sort of up that way.
Wow.
And it has to be a two-wheel drive car. So
Oh, wow.
no four-wheel drive, no all-wheel drive.
Some kind of SOS system?
Yeah. Well, there's 250 cars going in this rally, so it raises a lot of money for Cancer Council research.
And don't we need events like this now? You know, get everyone connected, working towards a common purpose.
Absolutely.
Oh, fantastic.
Absolutely.
So how can people still get involved in that? Is that something I need to plan for maybe for next
for the
the
rally?
rally, yes.
Yeah, we've actually I put my name down for the rally when I was actually going through treatment in 2020.
Wow.
So this
Inspirational.
this is how in demand, I suppose, how many people want to participate in it. So put your name down. If people put their name down now, they might get into it in 2 years or a year or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow. Supply and demand. Yes.
Very, very much so. Everyone wants to participate in it, and that opportunity to connect and do a really positive thing, raise as much money as we can for research, and then Yeah, and have a whole load of fun. along the way.
Fantastic. Well, Michelle, we're going to follow in your footsteps, I'm sure. We'll get our names down. But the Masquerade Ball, great opportunity, great pricing, very inclusive here at the Duxton Hotel. Where do we find out more, get tickets, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have, people can just look at the Humanitix website. That's where we've got the tickets for sale. We've currently got pre-sale tickets on at the moment, and that's $175. And that includes 2-course meal, a drink package, a whole load of entertainment as well. If you can't actually remember that website, just type in Masquerade Ball 2022 Duxton, and it's the first one that pops up. So
beautiful, so exciting.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to seeing you there, and
Thank you.
would love to have you on the show again in the near future.
That would be great.
Maybe some pictures from the Masquerade
yes,
Ball.
please. And even the rally as well.
Yes, the rally, absolutely. But thank you so much, and all the best on your personal journey too.
Thank you so much.
Wish you
Thank
the
you.
best in recovery.
Thanks, Nisha. Appreciate it.
Pleasure. Now, if you missed any of that, of course, we've got thecouch.com.au, or you can go onto our Facebook page as well. Otherwise, get to the Masquerade Ball. Back to you, Fred.
Thank you very much, Nisha. Thank you to Michelle as well. Do you know Michelle, the nickname for Ross from the compere? His name in radio is Hot Ross.
Wow.
Yes, that's what they call him.
Well.
Nothing like me. I'm very hot, Fred. And the Shipbox Rally, please get involved with that one. Nisha and I are going to take our brand new cars there and write them off and get the money on insurance and donate half of it to charity. Well done. Thank you very much. We'll take a break. After the break, Paul Elwyn is here talking streaming. Stick around. We'll see you then. Well done. Welcome back to the couch. It's always nice to have Paul Elwyn in the studio to talk streaming. Let's welcome Paul Elwyn.
Thank you, Fred. Thanks so much.
Hey, Paul, how's your week been?
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it's been very good, thank you. And yes, I have been watching quite a bit of streaming, but also I'm hugely excited because we're starting to get to like the real business end. We've got some majorly huge, expensive, big shows coming up in this August month.
Why do you reckon so much is now going on streaming and not on television?
It's really strange. Basically, streaming is, for them, they know exactly how many people around the world is watching. They can get really good ideas on exactly how well a show or an intellectual
Do they get
IP
ratings from those shows?
Not exactly ratings, but for them, the
It's
mere fact that they
subscription.
can open up the socials and see how everyone is reacting to it and just get a general vibe for whatever shows, you know, they're putting out is good.
Well, I
Yeah,
noticed
love
with me, I'm with Foxtel,
Yep.
and I used to get a lot of the binge programs on Foxtel. Now they've moved them to binge, so you have to actually, and they're giving it to me for $5 a month.
Yep.
So I've joined that as well.
Yeah, so they've got you and they're going to show you as many new shows as they can and they
Most
know
of
that
them
it
are
works.
on Foxtel already,
Yeah.
but it's just a couple that are really good.
Yeah.
You've got to get binge. So it's great. Look, I think we've got a lot of choice out there.
There's heaps of choices, but like between all of them, there's so many shows now that you can. But we've got like some great ones here in August. For me, the first one, I'm loving it. I just binged it the other day. It's 10 episodes. It's The Sandman. It's on Netflix. You can watch the entire season of this new show, The Sandman. It's based on graphic novel comics written by the amazing fantasy author Neil Gaiman, and it's a cult classic comic. This has all been put together in this series of 10 episodes that you can binge right now. Tom Sturridge, a young English actor, is playing Morpheus. He is our main character, the Sandman, Morpheus, the King of Dreams. This is a fantasy epic tale where Morpheus has been trapped, and for 100 years he's finally been released. He has to go and get the various tools of his trade that he has to go on various quests for. But after that, you get to actually have about 7 or 6 episodes where he has other adventures as well. We've got Patton Oswalt voicing Matthew the Raven, who is his companion. Jenna Coleman from Doctor Who is playing Joanna Constantine, the amazing demon hunting character. And we've got Gwendolyn Christie from Game of Thrones playing Lucifer, Lord of Hell, the underworld in this one. It's an epic fantasy adventure. Cult classic. I love it. It's been a lot of fun.
A lot of CGI in that, but it looks really
Heaps
good.
of CGI, but really great acting throughout. And for me, it was just amazing watching the comic characters come to life in this one. So yes, The Sandman on Netflix.
That's on Netflix. August the 5th it starts.
Yes, so
which
it's
is
right now. You can go and watch it. It's great.
What's She-Hulk all about?
She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Well, in the comics, Bruce Banner has a cousin, and she becomes She-Hulk when he has to try and save her from an accident where she's losing blood.
So it's
and
sort of the Hulk, but
he
female.
puts his blood, transfuses it into her, and she becomes She-Hulk. So in this one, this is the next big series, August 18, 9 episodes weekly on Disney+. This is the next Marvel thing for everybody. Tatiana Maslany, who received various awards for her performance in Orphan Black, which was a huge show that she was in. She is playing Jennifer Walter, cousin of Bruce Banner, aka She-Hulk. Mark Ruffalo is in this as the Hulk, as Bruce Banner, which is great. We've also got Charlie Cox coming back as Daredevil, which was hinted in a redone trailer that was recently out where they improved the CGI because everyone was complaining about the shade of green, that she was a bit, looked a bit funny. And we've got Tim Roth also coming back from his former role as Abomination as well. But this one she is a lawyer. So for these 9 episodes, she deals with superhero law issues. So when a superhero destroys, a police car or something, she's there sorting it all out. So she's the lawyer that deals with it, but also it works better because everyone's going, oh, but she's also, a superhero. And she can understand what's happening. So, yeah, it looks pretty exciting, but it's technically like a law drama, but a bit of action in there as well. Disney
August
Plus.
17th.
Yeah, it's
House
weekly.
of the Dragon. Now, I didn't realise you got a camera and took it to our floor manager, Sonia's place.
No. House of the Dragon, this is the big one this year.
Yep. Tell us about it.
At approximately $20 million per episode budgeted for this. This is 10 episodes. This is Foxtel/Binge that you get to watch it from August 21. Game of Thrones, that was massive. That had the 8 seasons. The last season was a little bit topsy-turvy for some people, that people thought it didn't end too well. So what they said was, we're not going to continue on with the story arc. We're going to go back 200 years so to show people the origins of all of these various houses, families, characters in here. Another one from Doctor Who, we've got Matt Smith, who's playing Prince Daemon Targaryen in this. Rhys Ifans is in this, but it's huge, really big production. So you get to watch it weekly from August 21, and this is the massive one that Foxtel is trying to put out because they're saying, remember Game of Thrones? That was huge. This is the story before all of it, so check this out. And the production looks massive.
From the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, essentially it's a massive prequel, but they decided, let's not go back 10, 20 years, let's go back 200 years, and now we've got enough material. So that's House of the Dragon.
A League of Their Own.
A League of Their Own. Is there crying in baseball? No, there's no crying in baseball.
No, definitely, unless you lose.
This was, remember the 1992 movie? Yes. We had Madonna in it, and Tom Hanks was the coach and everything. So this is a TV series, and this is the second try at this TV series, so this has finally come to fruition. This is extending the entire tale of the World War II era Women's League Baseball team, and the trials and tribulations they had to go through. And it's great. Essentially an amazing female cast in this one. More familiar for me, I noticed this lady, Darcy Carden. She was in The Good Place. She's amazing in that show. So she's in this. Nick Offerman is playing one of the coaches of another rival team in this one as well. He's from Parks and Rec. But it looks really cool. This is a bigger build on the whole story that was in that movie, all about like the first women's baseball league team.
Is it based on a true story? Or?
Yeah, essentially it's based on a true story. There is a slight variation on it with some of the characters and such, but it's great. They're actually like fleshing out more so like where these people came from, whereas in the movie they were kind of getting stuck into playing baseball and getting into the whole league. This is actually like, where do these people come from and what do they have to go through to try and even get to this spot? So A League of Their Own, and that's on Amazon, August 12th, and there's 8 episodes, and when that comes out you can watch all 8 and binge the whole show.
But you can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I think it'll be cool.
Do you ever wonder why we do the binging thing, right? Wouldn't they want people to watch every week? That way they have to keep paying their subscription?
It's so weird, like some shows, like I can understand with House of the Dragon, like each episode is like a huge budget and they want to sort of keep the hype up and maintain it and everything, especially when the budget's that big. But then some are great. Like I enjoyed the fact that for the Sandman, the budget wasn't massive, but it was still up there. But they just went, no, look, we're Netflix, you can enjoy the whole thing. And for them, but then they do weird things like Stranger Things. That wasn't all in one hit. That was actually a couple of pieces. So it's a weird maths that they do to it, but they do that.
And let's have a look at the final one. It's Tales of the Walking Dead.
Yeah, so all you zombie fans that enjoy your currently you have your 2 Walking Dead series, one on the West Coast, one on the East Coast. This one is slightly different. This is Tales of the Walking Dead, August 14th, 6 episodes weekly. This one is not exactly like an entire storyline, but it's episodic. So each episode will focus on certain characters from your familiar Walking Dead series, but it's actually going to focus more on like how do these characters come about, but also pretty much like how did the whole zombie apocalypse start? So what happened right at the beginning? Because when you start watching The Walking Dead or even the other series that it's from, you're not finding out how it all started. You're actually like thrown right into the current situation of it. So this one, it's pretty interesting. We've got Terry Crews in it, Anthony Edwards and Parker Posey from Lost in Space is in this.
Yes, that's the
evil doctor.
That's I know who
she's
you're
the
talking
evil
about.
doctor.
Dr. Smith.
Yeah, Dr. Smith. So she's in this
great.
as well. So it's a really cool cast, but yeah, it's actually going to tell you how each character from The Walking Dead came about. So that's Tales of the Walking Dead.
Paul always giving us something to flick onto,
Yep.
And that is, of course, Talking Streaming. No time to give away tickets today because we're right out of time, but thank you very much. We'll see you in a couple of weeks with movies.
Yes, thanks.
We'll take a break, back with more of The Couch. Another special guest coming up right after the break. See you then. Welcome back to The Couch. Always nice to talk to our employment lawyer, Jo. She's back in the studio talking about working from home and more with our very own Nisha. Over to you.
Thanks so much, Fred. It's always a pleasure to have you on board. How are you going, Jo?
I'm doing really well, Nisha. Thanks. Good to be back.
Oh, wonderful. And we've got a topic today that I think our audience is going to be really interested in. It's got to do with both considering inflation, which we're all, it's all hitting us, whether it's our mortgage or elsewhere as well, but also the imminent topic of pay rises and remuneration in general. What are you finding, I guess, in your expertise in the space that you're working in, rather?
We've kind of got that perfect storm at the moment. You know, it's the middle of the year, which is traditionally when we start looking at pay rises. It's also crazy inflation. And we're also off the back of the pandemic, even though it's still very much in part of our lives. So people are really thinking about, real fair reward for, fair work. And so it's looking at all of these things and sort of saying, well, am I entitled these days to a pay rise? And employers thinking, should I be giving pay rises? Do I have to give pay rises?
Yeah, and I guess, you look at supply and demand, and a lot of industries, we were just chatting with Fred about this, there is that sort of balance between being a huge demand, but employers have to be reasonable because cash flow is imminent in business. If you don't have that, then our economy suffers as well. Yeah. So when we look at inflation, what is reasonable from an employment perspective, do you think, for an employer to consider?
I think employers absolutely need to be aware of it. And obviously there is inflation, which is increasing everyone's cost of living. And so you've got to be conscious of that. But whether that means you need to give pay rises is a different question. So there's really 2 reasons why you would have to give one. The first is for legal reasons. And then there's a whole other kind of category. In terms of legal, what you would be looking at would be whether you've got to meet minimum conditions. So if you're paying people at award rates, every 1st of July there will be an increase, like there was this 1st of July, and you must make sure you're keeping up with those minimums. It may be that before 1st of July you are paying above award, and so you think to yourself, well, I'll be fine because I've always been paying above award. But it's so important to just do those quick checks and make sure that you still are, and if you're not, it's time to bump it up. So that's definitely the first thing, is that legal bucket. Do I have to meet the minimums?
So the key to the city is, if you're not sure, make sure you review.
Absolutely. You should just review every year. That's the safest way to go.
What about superannuation?
Yes, so this year we saw another increase as well. So we went up to 10.5%. So absolutely, you've got to make sure you're hitting that minimum. One of the interesting things that I see pop up with my clients is the question around, well, I pay them a salary package. So I pay them, say, $100,000, and that's inclusive of everything. It's their salary, it's their super, it's, their car, whatever it might be. So it's a package. And so then super goes up to 10.5%, and there's a question. So does that mean it's still in the package of 100,000, or do I need to increase that to cover that 0.5%?
Yeah, and interestingly, have you found as well that I guess the hybrid or the working from home has implicated employment packages too? So I mean, if you're working, set up your computer, everything at home, you're not travelling as much, you've got more work time in your day. Do those factors come in, do you think, sometimes?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So there'll be the employers who are saying, we are providing you with all of this flexibility, we're providing you with all of these extra conditions. So because of that, we don't have to pay you as much for a salary because we're giving you these other types of benefits. Some employers will take that view and others will still say, no, your salary and benefits will be the same regardless of where you're working.
And interestingly, so back to supply and demand is what are other good reasons that, you might actually offer your employees more?
Well, one is, you might have promoted them or given them extra responsibility recently, and so you're, recognising those extra duties that they've taken. Then it might be the matter that you have, you're just looking around and sort of saying, I've got such a great team, it's time to reward them. And I'm going to do that by taking a look at what the market is providing, and I want to keep these staff. And so to keep staff, one of the best things you can do is provide fair base remuneration, because that just takes a whole lot of dispute out of the relationship.
Love that, Jo. Proactive versus reactive, right? Much easier to get up from.
Much easier.
not a big fall as well.
Yeah.
So if you do get an increase, we've got the question here: how do you actually record it? So, a simple letter. Because a lot of employers, I think this is where we fall short if we're not clear about what that is and what it looks like over the employee lifespan.
Well, you could do it a couple of different ways. So the first way would be a simple letter, and that would just be, I advise as of this date, your salary is going up to this amount, but it may be that if it is that promotion case, the person that's taken on a lot more responsibility, then a full new contract of employment would be a better way to go.
Excellent. Well, you're always leaving me with so much certainty, Jo, as well in this space. And just quickly, we only have another minute, but there have been some working from home challenges. Do you have anything? I know it's only a minute, but we love sucking as much information out of you. Any points you wanted to raise in that space?
Look, I think the challenge that we're finding is people who are saying, I'm sick, and so we're getting different challenges now. We're saying, I'm sick and so I'm going to work from home today, or I just want to work from home one day a week because then I can look after my child instead of putting them into childcare. So there's people using work from home and thinking to use work from home in different ways, and we've established some sort of norms over the last couple of years. So it's how we're working out what those new norms are. And things like, I'm sick so I'm going to work from home. Well, all I say is have a think about that. You're sick, you need to get well, and yes, you're not bringing your germs into the office, but you still need to get well. So as an employer, you should really consider the wellness of that individual as well as all of the staff.
Well, Jo, as always, very informative. Thank you so much for joining us on The Couch.
Pleasure.
Where can we find out more?
If anyone wants to find out more, you can find us at 3dhrlegal.com.au.
Once again, thank you, and we'll look forward for you coming back onto The Couch. I'm sure there'll be some very interesting topics as the months roll on.
Always.
Thank you. So, of course, if you missed any of that, you can find it on thecouch.com.au or our Facebook page, but it's back to you for now, Fred.
Thank you very much to Jo and Nisha. Jo, just a quick question. People that work for Uber deliveries, I believe there's a move where the government is looking at introducing sick leave and rec leave and all that. Does that mean that if that happens and they pay them more money, we're going to have to pay more for those deliveries? Because who's going to pay for it?
Exactly. Yeah, which is the whole thing around the inflation issue and all of those. It's just where is that money going to come from? It's got to come from somewhere.
Yep, exactly. I think that will be an interesting topic for another show. We'll catch up with you next month.
Sounds good, friend.
There you go. Our legal employment lawyer, of course, Jo. She'll be back next month on the show. But now, what does this remind you of? I gave a letter to the postman. He's told me not to sing. Here's Gerard, centre stage, Return to Sender.
Return to sender. Return to sender. I gave a letter to the postman. He put it in his sack. Bright and early next morning, he brought my letter back. She wrote upon it, return to sender. such number. Well, no such zone. Ooh, we had a quarrel, a lover's spat. I write, I'm sorry, but my letter keeps coming back. So when I dropped it to the mailbox and sent a special deed, bright and early next morning, it came right back to me. She wrote upon it, return to sender, address unknown. No such person, well, no such zone. Ooh, this time I'm gonna take it myself and put it right in her hands. And if it comes back the very next day, then I'll understand. Return to sender, address unknown. No such number, well, no such zone. Ooh, return to sender, return to sender, return to sender.
Told you that was the song. Return to Okay, enough, Gerard. Doesn't like me singing for some reason. Someone who loves my singing, because she told me, is Dr. Jenny Brockers, and she's with us on set today, talking about not causing me stress by telling me not to sing. Nisha, welcome back.
Thank you so much, Fred. And I
You
think,
like my singing, don't you, Nisha?
of course, I would not say anything otherwise on national television.
Thank you.
But I know you are a very good singer, isn't
yes,
he,
I
Jenny?
He is.
Oh, enough
and
about me.
quite a nifty dancer as well, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, and look, I guess from a doctor and a psychologist point of view, it is about the joy you get as an individual, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's not about the aesthetic of, being able to sing, because I can't sing, but I enjoy it. Yeah. So we are talking about anxiety today, which is probably a good lead-in, right? So, yeah, what are we talking about, Jenny? Anxiety is a huge area, isn't it? It really sits on quite a continuum.
Yes, it does. And it's massive and it's growing. And it was actually an issue before COVID, but COVID has just amplified it out of all sight. And I think it's really important to be aware that it's sometimes quite normal to feel a bit anxious, because not all anxiety means you need to go and see a doctor right now. And please don't think it means that you need to be prescribed something to take like Valium or something like that, because there are so many ways we can manage our anxiety. But the first thing is awareness of when it's rearing its ugly head and becoming a bit of a nuisance, when it's actually impacting how you manage your daily life or your work too.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So you would have seen so many patients, in your career so far, and there's many, many strategies and techniques out there. But I really like what you said around normalising anxiety, because mental health itself is on, if you see on a spectrum from 1 to 10, 10 being worst, most dysfunctional, 1 being functional.
Yes.
It's
So
1 to
where are we
5, which
sitting
is
at the
good.
moment?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where do you suggest people start to get some assistance, like on that continuum?
I think it's about recognising when it is moving towards a place that you feel like you can't manage it appropriately anymore. Because many of us have some days or even some weeks when we've got more anxiety than others. But it's about recognising that whatever you're doing normally to try and manage that isn't working. That's the time to go and talk to somebody about it.
Yeah, sure. And there's many triggers as well, I'm sure you've found when you talk to patients.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think the thing we need to recognise is that it's the younger generation that are particularly doing it tough at the moment. And it doesn't matter whether you're talking to a parent or a teacher, everybody is a bit concerned that those under 35 are particularly finding life in general very anxiety provoking.
Yeah. So if you do have the excessive worry or any fear, what are some strategies you can probably start off with that you think will be useful?
Well, I think it's about finding which ones work for you, because it's not one thing that fixes everybody.
Yeah.
So it's trial and error. And I think the first thing, the easiest thing that doesn't cost you anything.
It's always helpful with inflation. We were just talking about that.
Cost of living, etc., is to remember to breathe. We don't always breathe very well, and a lot of us breathe quite shallowly and quite quickly. And that, if you're prone to anxiety, can actually rev it up a bit more.
Yeah.
So the easiest and simplest thing is just to slow it down. So be conscious that you're slowing your breath deliberately, because we normally breathe anything between 10 and 12 times a minute.
Wow. Yep.
So the easiest thing to do is just count how often you breathe over 30 seconds and double it.
Yeah.
Because then you know how many times you're breathing per minute.
Yes.
And then see whether you can just slow it down a bit, just taking a slower breath in and a slightly longer breath out.
Wonderful.
Because that immediately affects your nervous system. It just calms everything down. And when you're feeling calmer, all that anxiety starts to trickle away.
There's a lot of apps and whatnot available
There
now
are.
too, right? Some of us are a bit more
Yes.
visual and we need something to help us. Yeah.
Yes. There's one app, for example, which has a pair of lungs sort of inflating and deflating. And it's quite mesmerising just watching this. And it automatically, you start to match what it's doing on the little screen. So slow it down, slow it down. That's the first thing.
Wonderful. And a couple that I've heard of, I'm sure these are the ones that you're thinking of. There's Beyond Blue and Headspace that have apps,
Yes.
but that My Calm Beat. And I know that's
That's
a number
the
of
My Calm Beat. That's the one I was
a couple of my
thinking of.
clients said that's free as well. There's a version that's free, so that's a
Yes.
good one to get
Yes.
hold of.
Yep.
Okay, what's another way we can look at reducing
Another
anxiety?
way is to use this wonderful world that we live in. And the simplest thing is often just to get outside into some fresh air. And if it's a sunny day, that's really great for anxiety, because when you're out in sunshine, it actually promotes more of our calming hormone called serotonin. And when you're feeling calm, your anxiety is more manageable. So that's another easy thing to do. And living in West Australia, we tend to have quite a reasonable amount of sunshine. The eastern seaboard seems to be lacking a bit of sunshine at the moment, but I'm sure it'll come back.
A whole in the ozone layer is not too bad now. But yeah,
right.
working from home, important to get out of the house.
Important to get
Yeah.
out of the house.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that generally getting out of the house is so important, because they reckon that we spend about 95 to 98% of our time indoors, which is a horrifying statistic. But if you work it up, you get out of bed, you get dressed, you get in the car, go to work, park it in the car park, go into the office, and if you're working in an office, of course, these days, it's easy to realise how we don't always get out as much as we should.
Yeah, very
but
true.
when it comes to mental well-being, particularly with anxiety, spending time in what they call a green space. In other words, you've got vegetation around you, bushes and trees and birds going tweet, 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 or a blue space.
And if you talk to plants, they don't talk back.
No. Not usually. But the other magic thing about...
I don't do it.
You don't? Okay.
No, I do
I
sometimes.
was wondering about you there, Nisha. The other magic thing is that trees produce their own chemicals, and that calms us down too. So how good is that? Nature works a treat.
And do you know what, Jenny? Very calm speaking with you. And I will have to wrap up, unfortunately, because the time goes so quickly.
It does go so fast.
But if anyone does want to make contact with you to discuss their anxiety or anything else in the medical field, how can they
Sure.
get in touch?
Easiest thing is just to go straight to my website, and it's drjennybrockis.com. Easy peasy.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Jenny. We're looking forward to
Thanks so
having you
much,
back on the
Nisha.
couch soon.
See you then. Thank you.
And of course, everyone knows thecouch.com.au and our Facebook page if you missed any of that. It's back to you, Fred.
Thanks, Nisha. I'm holding one of Dr. Jenny's books, Thriving Mind, but on screen I think we've got a graphic that shows people all the books that you've got that are available. There they are there. Thriving Mind, Future Brain and Brain Fit. That's the series of books. I've got 3 to give away. Check out our website tonight and I'll tell you how you can win it. And we'll check out Dr. Jenny next month with another great topic. We're taking a break. We're going completely out of our health sphere. And next we're talking entertainment with Alexander Sacosta. That's what I do for anxiety. Relax. See you after the break.
Connect with The Couch online through Facebook, Instagram and YouTube.
Welcome back to The Couch. It's time to talk entertainment as we always do with our very own presenter, Alexander Sacosta. Welcome back.
Thank you, Fred. I love being here. I love entertainment in that order.
Now, you've been working on Telethon. That's coming up very soon.
Yes. So I got to help out at the Telethon Mega Bingo yesterday, which was a
A lot
very
of fun.
successful event.
Now, what are you doing on Telethon this year? So all the people
I'm
can watch it?
hosting the community stage, and hopefully we'll get some broadcast moments from the community stage, as
Beautiful.
well as hopefully helping
And, of course, you're doing well with Home in WA as well.
Home in WA.
That's also on Channel 7.
On Channel 7.
Well done.
Everyone's
So-
favourite network. Hashtag not sponsored.
I'm just having a look around because I can't see anybody that cares.
Fred.
No, look, 9 is the place to be. It's a good number. But can I just say to you, if you can't work at 9, work at 7, I guess. But welcome back. Today you're on the couch, Foxtel, which is great. We've got some great stories that you're talking about.
It's interesting time in entertainment, sort of all over the place. At the
Yeah,
moment.
I was having a look. The one that interests me is Neighbours, but that's okay.
Yeah, we'll start
Emma
with
Watkins.
Emma Watkins from The Wiggle. So
Yep.
as we know that she did leave as the Yellow Wiggle. She was very popular, one of the most popular Wiggles I've ever had, actually.
she is there.
And there she's there with the bow.
Why did she leave?
Well, it was sort of like she felt it was time to move on.
Too
She
old?
wanted too old. No, not at all.
That's
I mean,
what
look
I'm
at the other
saying.
cast
Look how
members. It's like the Antiques Roadshow. Basically, she wanted to create her own, and now she's come back with her new character, and that's Emma Memma there, as we can see, with
Her own show?
own whole thing. It's probably going to be marketed across everything.
Oh, wow, wonderful.
The focus is on the colour orange, which she says represents a new chapter moving forward, and it's symbolic of being happy, which
And
is
harmony,
very
yes.
important. She's also very passionate about sign language, so Auslan, which she did a lot when she was in the Wiggles as well, and now she wants to kind of really integrate it into her
Good on
new
her.
character.
You know,
Emma
good
Memma.
on her, because a lot of people get stereotyped.
Very much so.
And they become a character and never be
Yeah.
able to do anything else. So we wish her well.
Yeah, well,
Well
it's
done.
already proving
And I
very
love
popular,
orange.
and you can see why. I mean,
Orange
she was
is
popular.
such a good colour.
It is a good colour, and it's not the one you would think. Like, there was no orange wiggle, so it's perfect.
Well done.
What colour would you be, Fred, if you were one of the
Orange.
Wiggles? You'd be the orange wiggle?
Orange, I love orange and I love blue.
Nice.
And I love pink. and
Orange,
I love
blue,
yellow.
pink.
And I love
rainbow
I love
wiggle.
every colour, as long as it's not black. I think black is boring, miserable. And it doesn't make you look skinny, no matter how much you wear. So, no, look, fantastic, Emma Watkins. Good luck. Neighbours came to an end after 37 years.
Yes, it's very
But it was
sad.
actually 38 years. They kept saying 37.
Yeah.
It was actually, it started on Channel 7, that station you talk about.
Yeah.
But they couldn't see the potential, so they only lasted there for 4 months. And do you know what they did? When Channel 10 bought Neighbours, 7 was so upset that they
Yes.
actually burnt all the sets. So
how dramatic.
and it took a year for Channel 10 to rebuild everything just from the vision that they had.
Right.
They did a really great job, and so much has come from Neighbours.
Oh, well, look at all the actors that have come out of Neighbours. Russell Crowe, Liam Hemsworth, Guy Pearce, Margot
all the
Robbie.
singers.
Kylie Minogue, Natalie Imbruglia.
Olivia Valance, Holly
Olivia
Valance,
who was it? Bassam
Jason Donovan, Kylie Minogue,
Oh, my gosh.
Bassam Wade.
it's like a star maker.
There's a lot of people that got their start in Neighbours
Yes.
and have become huge, big millionaires and big stars. Look, I think Neighbours was a homegrown program that gave so many young people experience in the media. There's about 500 people that have now lost their jobs, and I have to say, it'd be great if there was other production, but there isn't a lot of it.
Well, it was either keep like that New York trade position alive or keep Neighbours going. And we were like, no, we need that New York trade position for the New
Yep.
South Wales government.
Now, see, if I was Channel 10, I would have got rid of Studio 10. I would have got rid of the 5 o'clock news. I would have got rid of Sandra Sully, maybe. And then, but the thing is, I'm sure there's other money there that they could have used.
Yeah.
I believe Neighbours is successful. I would love to see 9 pick it up, but I don't know if they will. It's a very expensive
Bold
program
move
make.
to do, though.
But do you know
Maybe
what?
Channel 7 can pick it both up.
Well, I don't think Channel 7's had them, and 7 are not committed to local drama. They're committed to beach drama, and it's all selling bodies and selling good-looking people. I don't think
I hate it when they put good-looking people on television.
And not us.
Disgusting.
And not us. But do you know what? It was a great program. It had a beautiful hour-and-a-half send-off, and
yeah, I
you
actually
never
watched
know.
some moments, and it was very sweet for someone who didn't actually watch the show at all. I was like,
I'm
I really
thinking-
miss that guy.
I'm thinking of bringing back a spin-off and calling it The People Next Door.
So the other streets, so there was Ramsey Street, and now there's what?
Norfolk Street,
Norfolk Street.
Vincent Street.
It's probably not as interesting as just people putting rubbish in other people's bins.
So look, I have to say, I wish all the people concerned with Neighbours, anyone that worked on Neighbours, a lot of Perth people worked on Neighbours, the executive producer there, Jason, to all the cast, all the best for the future. We hope we see you in some capacity. If not, we might see you on telethon. So thank you very much. Now let's go to the next story, unless we want to keep.
So The Hunted, which is a reality TV show, they're like they have to. Well, it's pretend, but I mean they're fugitives.
Do you know?
basically.
I thought the name was Haunted.
The Haunted.
The Haunted, but it was actually Hunted. Tell us what it's all about.
So basically, as a contestant, you have to try to evade capture by these. They're called HQ,
They're
basically.
fake police officers. Fake.
Well, one of them is actually real. The guy who's running it is a proper. He
and
actually
there was
works
a
for
guy,
National Defence.
contestant was a police officer.
Yes, one of the contestants, and it shows how you're able to hide and how quickly they're able to like locate where you are. If they find you, you're out basically.
So they use their own knowledge from when
Well,
they
they're
worked.
using high-tech technology like Google Maps and Microsoft Word
But
to
you
really
do
hone in on where these
realise
people
that,
are.
for example, CCTV cameras that they pretended they had,
Yeah.
there's no way they would have been given
No,
access.
no.
But
So
they-
it's all
I have to say,
dramatised.
a friend of mine loved it.
Yeah.
He thought it was exciting. It was, edge of the seat type stuff. It is a good TV show if you like The Amazing Race. It's very similar.
It has
Don't
that
you
vibe.
think?
Yeah.
So
It's exciting and it did well for the network. So
And they're
that's
doing
always good.
auditions again
Yes.
in February.
So if you want to be hunted or haunted, apply for that show.
Fantastic. Now,
Justin Bieber's back.
Justin, now has he been cured of his problem?
I understand he's been treated for it.
Oh,
It was
okay,
like
that's
a partial facial paralysis.
Yeah, look, I'm glad he opened up about it. He was very honest about it.
Yeah, as a performer, he's definitely matured.
changed, hasn't he?
Yeah,
I
and his
like
songs
him.
are actually quite good.
I've always liked him, but I
Yeah.
thought he went wayward for a few years, and now he's gone back on track, and he's very good. There he is there.
Yeah. So he started his performance again in Italy. He started after taking 2 months off from his tour because he'd had those stroke-like symptoms.
Does
But
he have any kids yet? Is his
Not
wife-
yet,
Not yet. I think
but-
that's his next thing.
you
But look,
imagine?
he's very popular, isn't he?
Yeah. To have that longevity is hard. So
Because how old would he be now? Is he 30?
not yet. I'd say he's late 20s.
Late 20s.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's done really well in the very short career that he's
Yeah,
had.
yeah.
And he's still popular. The women love him, the men love him. And
The dogs love him. The cats love him.
Everybody
The
loves
cast of Neighbours love him. Everyone loves him.
Yes, there they are in the front row. They got free tickets. So, is there any news? Is he coming to Perth? Is he coming to
No,
Australia?
he's not going to Perth, but
That's a shame.
he's touring again. Oh wait, maybe he is coming to Perth.
I thought-
anything's possible, Fred.
Hey, we put the call out there. You never know. And K-pop is back.
K-pop. So do you know BTS?
I do now. You showed me the vision of it.
So they are the South Korean pop group and very popular. Brings a lot of money to the South Korean economy as well. And they unfortunately, or fortunately, depends how you look at it, have to do military service before the time they turn 30. And the oldest band member is about to turn 30. So they're thinking of changing the legislation in the country to prevent pop stars from having to do it. So it's like
Really?
different rules for celebrities. But they were making commentary about how when Elvis Presley kind of went into the military, it actually enhanced his career and it was good for the national
Well, he did
kind of
movies
identity
as well when he came back.
Yeah. So there's almost like
Joe.
2 thoughts to maybe make them do like 3 weeks so we can get some good photos and then straight back to the tour.
Very interesting. Such a big boy band as well.
Yeah. Well, it's
Are
meant
they
so you
very
can identify.
popular? I
with
mean,
it.
I don't
It's
follow
very popular. They're huge.
So they're in at the moment, K-pop. And
Oh,
they-
yeah.
What are they called?
BTS.
BTS. What does that stand for?
Now you're asking me questions I don't know the answer to, so I'll just laugh.
Does anyone know the answer?
There we go. That's it.
What was it?
What she said.
Say it again.
Bang Tang Boys.
Ben 10 Boys.
Not Ben 10. Bang Tan.
But I think Ben 10 would.
Ben 10's another TV show.
Oh, thank you very well. Bang Tang. Anyway, they're popular over there. The people in South Korea
Over there,
love it.
they're worldwide. They
Maybe
won,
don't travel
American
to North
Music
Korea
Award.
because I don't know if you.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they could bring peace.
Do you reckon they'll go around the world? Do they speak English?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't. No,
Yeah.
I couldn't hear the vocals here in the studio, but I wanted to know if they were Korean voiced or English. Congratulations to them as well.
Congratulations to them.
All the best to you. You'll be on
Thank you,
Telethon. You'll
Fred.
probably be
Looking
back in a
forward to
couple
it.
of weeks before Telethon, I
Oh,
reckon.
good. I can prepare.
Maybe bring me a fat cat doll.
Do you want one?
Yes, I was going to buy one. If you bring me one in, I'll give you the money. You can give it to Telethon.
Done.
There you go. Buy your fat cat dolls at all the 777 pharmacies around Western Australia. It really does help the Children's Hospital. That is it from us today. Thank you to all the wonderful crew. Thanks to Abby, our floor manager, Petrian, Michael, and of course, Lucas. And the control room, let's thank Alec, Adrian, our director, and the DA today, Brendan. Thanks for your help. And Barbara looking after all the guests. And thank you to Alexander Sacosta for being a trooper and always doing community stuff like me. And Telethon's a wonderful community event. We'll take a break today. We'll finish the show and we'll be back next week. Thank you for your company. Keep smiling. Bye for now.